Now you're retired, now you're at home, and now the salary has stopped and a pension might be coming in. Is that enough? Is that enough to live on? Sometimes I do wonder that I'm getting through money at a great rate of knots, and I really should be looking at things and ways to earn a little bit extra, to take that little extra holiday or that little extra treat. And I found a way that suits me, and I want to share it with you. Hi, my name's Stephen, and welcome to the Boomer Man's Adventures, my channel aimed at boomers 60 plus, those who've retired, those who are thinking about retired, and those who just wish they were retired. I'm here today to talk to you about Vinted. I started Vinted in February. When you get to our age, and I'm talking about those that have had established homes or they've lived in the same place for 25, 30 years, don't tell me that you haven't stored away in that loft or in that garage or garage a mountain of goods, ornaments, of wedding presents, of anniversary presents, a change of room, a change of light, and we don't do anything with the old lights, we don't do anything with the old furniture, or bits and bobs and clothes and pottery, but we store it. We store it in the loft. I know when I moved home about 10 years ago, I'd been in the home I was then for 20, getting on for 25 years. And I knew that I couldn't move in the loft, to be honest. Every time we got something new for the house, or we didn't replace what we had, and we had two of everything, eventually that spare would go up in the loft or in the garage. And I thought to myself, this is crazy. I'm just about to redevelop the room that I'm in now, and my husband redeveloped another room, his room, because we have separate rooms, another story. And we realized that we've got double of every lamp, double of every set of curtains, double of every knick-knack. And I thought, what can we do with it? We have been taking stuff to charity for as long as we can remember, and which is great, and it's very philanthropic, and I will continue to do so. But I also wanted to make some extra money on the side that would enable us to go on an extra holiday or a treat. Now we're retired and we do have to watch the pennies. So I started a Vinted account. It was really, really simple to do. I fairly techie, but I found that ChatGPT and other AI services just gave me a step-by-step introduction of how to open a Vinted account. And I started selling my lamps. I started selling my pictures. I started selling a laundry box, a vase, an ornament, all of the things that I'd been collecting for 24, 25 years. That the stuff I'd taken to the charity shop was fine, but this was stuff that was hidden away in boxes in the loft, in the garage, as I've mentioned. So I took it to Vinted, or opened a Vinted store, and overnight people started offering amounts for my goods and shackles, and I'd said yes. Postage was as simple as you could imagine. I live in a village, and even in my village they do Royal Mail, they do DPD drop-off. They've got an in-post box, which is the little box that you put your goods in on an app that gives you a code to open the box, to close the box, and away it goes. You just have to make sure you've packed it up well, you've double bubble wrapped everything, because I think Vinted want you to do that. And lo and behold, it sells, it arrives, and you get paid. There are very little tax implications to this, and you do need to do your own research, because if you're selling the stuff that you have bought once upon a time, well, the chances are you're not selling it for a profit, so you won't have a tax liability. But I'm not a tax expert, but I do urge you to investigate this yourself. If you're flipping, and what I mean by that is going to charity shops to buy clothes, or going to boot fairs to buy clothes to sell on Vinted, then you need to be careful, because there could be a tax liability, and it is like a business for you. But for a majority of us retirees, these boomers that have got lofts and garages full of stuff, then selling those old, the unwanted stuff on Vinted is a great way to make extra money. I've made in excess of £1,500 since February just doing that, selling my second-hand goods, shackles, bits and bobs, and that will pay for a couple of holidays or one decent holiday. You know, I can't say I'll be able to keep that momentum up every year in, year out, because I will run out of stuff eventually. But, you know, we have redecorated, as I say, and we swapped our lamps and we swapped our pictures, and we've got all sorts of bits and bobs. I've got some bags that I didn't need anymore. So, you know, some nice bags. I wouldn't say necessarily designer bags, but some nice bags, some shoes. I've got umpteen pairs of shoes. So if you're looking to make some extra money as a retired person, then this is a great way to give to charity if you want to, and if you want to make some money, sell it on Vinted, and you can do it very, very easily. It's not difficult. Just keep your wits about you, download the app, keep everything simple. People will make you an offer, a silly offer sometimes. You might have something for £10 and someone will offer you £6.50. Well, reject it. You know, you're not in the market for giving your stuff away, but if they offer you £8-9 off that £10, then, you know, accept it. They have to pay the postage and packaging, and they have to pay a buyer's protection for Vinted in case something went wrong in the sale. But ultimately, you know, you'll keep the lion's share of that fee, and then each week, each month, just watch it build up. And if you keep it in the Vinted account, it doesn't earn interest. But if you took it out and popped it into your own account, keep an eye on it and watch it grow. And I think it's a great way to earn some extra money. There is, of course, eBay. I've been using eBay since 2007, and it's okay, but it generally is for specialist goods and for probably some high-end stuff. But if you go on the Vinted app yourself, or even the Vinted website before you download the app, and see the range of clothing and goods and shackles and bits and bobs that people are selling, it's bewildering. You know, you can't make craft items and sell it on there, because the sole purpose and idea behind Vinted was to encourage people to sell their own stuff that they've built up over years. Not, you could go pro and open a business, but that's a whole new ball game, and I'm not involved in that. But you could do that if you were selling new stuff. But as I say, for all of us people with a loft and a garage full of stuff over the last 25, 30 years, it's a great way to offload some of these things, and you become really inventive in making packaging boxes to fit your product. You know, I sold a tower fan recently because I bought a new tower fan because they've changed. Well, I didn't have a box big enough for a tower fan, but I do have an amazing husband who's very clever at constructing boxes to put my goods in to send away. And you tape it up and you bubble wrap it and you stick fragile stickers over it, and you either drop it whenever the buyer asks for, a DPD or an in-post or an every or a Royal Mail. Whatever you've got local to you, you can actually leave open as options for the buyer to choose. And if you haven't got a DPD or an every anywhere near you, then in the app you could disable those as options for your buyer. But the recommendation is to have as many items or many ways of posting parcels out as possible, so you're not limiting yourself to one in-post box or one Royal Mail selection. But, you know, my recommendation to you is give it a go, give it a try. It's a really good way to earn some extra money. Make sure that you still send your stuff, that, you know, clothing and things that you know you'd want to give to charity. Then, you know, you're using that for good anyway, and you don't see those shops closing. But if you want to make some money for an extra trip, an extra holiday, then do what I do. If you've ever done this, or you found other ways as a retiree of earning some extra money, then do pop your comments in the box below. And please, you know, if you get a chance and you like what I've been saying the last few weeks, then do like and subscribe. It really helps. It helps my fledgling channel grow, and I get to know you, you get to know me, and we can have some good conversations as retirees. So let me know in the comments below if you've found a way to earn extra money, and I don't mean a paper round or a milk round. I did that when I was 15. You know, I'm now 62. I'm not flogging milk and papers to people, but I do want to be a bit entrepreneurial. I do want to find ways to make an extra bob or two so I can have a comfortable retirement or an extra trip away that gives me something on the calendar to look forward to. And do you know what? I really enjoy it. I get a buzz when that notification comes through that I've had an offer, and an even bigger buzz when I've sold something on Vinted and it's worked out. So give it a go. Let me know what you think, and we'll look forward to sharing this information together. And I'll see you all soon. I'll get a new video posted out once a week on a different topic, and I'll keep it light and frothy if I can, and sometimes not so. But for now, thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe. My name's Stephen, and you've been watching the Boomer Man's Adventures, and I've got plenty of those. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.